a public service announcement for the proper pronunciation of this man's first name to my left. It is Khalil Shakir, not Khalil. So make a note of it, Bills fans, because we want to get it right. You know, nobody wants their first name to be mispronounced. So we're here. Public service announcement here on One Bills Live. Welcome in. Good to see you.
Oh, thanks for having me.
The real question is, does Josh know how to say it?
Yeah.
Find you in a crowd. That's the
Right.
real
That's really the most that matters. Huh?
Do you
Yeah,
have
he says it right.
do you have a nickname that's something even shorter than that, or
A couple of guys been calling me Lil lately.
Oh, Lil, okay.
Just the last part
shorten
of
it
that
up?
first name.
Guys are always shortening it up. We know that. Okay, year 2 coming in here. How much of a atmospheric change is it for you walking into training camp this summer compared to being a wet behind the ears rookie last year?
Yeah, I would just say, being familiar with everything. You know, when we pulled up the first day and walked into the dorms, everything was like, man, I swear I was just here. You know, that is definitely the main thing. Walking out on the field, and last year, first walking out here and seeing how much of Bills Mafia shows up for these practices and how supportive they are. Last year, I was like, wow, this is a practice, you know. Right. And so knowing all those things going into this second year made the nerves kind of calm down just a little bit. I still get jitters every time I walk out there. So,
but that's good. You want that energy, that nervous energy. That's good.
So it's a little bit something too, because you can look around now at the guys coming like Kincaid and all these other guys that are coming in, the brand new guys. And you can think, yeah, you know what, right? It's an enormous difference.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I was talking to Jay Short the other day, and he was just saying the same thing. He said, yeah, man, I got some jitters. I'm like, man, you're not the only one. You know, just because you're a rookie. I'm year 2. I'm sure some year 3, year 4 guys still get that feeling when they walk out there that it's, you know, that the heart just gets going, you know. And it is what it is.
Steve and I have mentioned this a few times. There's been some turnover in your position room. It's basically you, Stefan, and Gabe as the only guys back from last year's squad. Do you feel a sense of responsibility to Josh, knowing he has a comfort level with you, Stefan and Gabe? He's got to learn those other guys. How much of a responsibility do you put on yourself to convince him, hey, we're good, you can rely on me because we have time together?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's huge. Definitely making sure that he knows that I'm ready to take that next step. But at the same time, I still got to do I got to pay my dues every day and come out here and make sure that I make plays, I make big plays, try and stand out. Very mellow through camp so far, so I definitely got to pick it up and let them know that I'm here for a reason, and I'm here to take that next step. And with that also is bringing those other guys along and getting them to know the playbook and all the installs and everything, because when we get to rotating and things like that, everybody knows their responsibility, so that way Josh trusts the receiver room as a whole.
Give us an idea, too, because it's a big deal. You're off season. It's your first one ever, right? You're not going to school. You're a pro athlete. How do you feel like you handled your off season for the first time, knowing, you know, you got to come back, you did all the OTAs and all of that stuff, but now you got to kind of do it yourself, right? You got to find your spot, find your workout partners, find a place to live. You get your whole off the field world up and running so they can support you during the season. How do you feel like that went for your first off season?
Yeah, it went really well. I'm more of a guy that the smaller the training group, the better I feel like it is. I'm more of a one-on-one guy. Right. For those who don't know, I was down in South Carolina training with Eric Moulds.
Yeah.
Both times, even when we had this month off right before training camp, I was down there training with him. And just making sure, not only was he making sure that I was ready to go for this upcoming season, I mean, he's a mental coach as well, you know, like he's making sure that, you know, he says the right things to me every single day. He'll shoot me a text every now and then, just making sure that I'm keeping my head down and staying in it and staying in the grind. So I think I handled it pretty well, and I think with his help, he's definitely helped me, you know, up my game.
Eric is a very respected player by Bills fans even now, you know, almost 15 years after, almost 20 years after he finished his career in Buffalo. He's a little bit bigger body than you. He was a 6'2", like 210 guy, and he was a rock.
He still is.
He started his career when Steve was finishing his.
Eric had the unfortunate, you know, career path of getting put on the Bills when they
didn't have a quarterback.
They didn't have a quarterback ever.
Yeah.
He got 1 year Jim Kelly, then, you know, it was Todd Collins, and it was the rest of them.
But my question for you concerning Eric is where I mean, you mentioned the mentals, but is he helping you on releases? Is he helping you on footwork? All of those things. Where did where did the main focus lie as far as your priority list, what you wanted him to help you with the most?
I think the most thing was speed work.
Okay.
I definitely feel like I'm pretty quick, but I feel like my speed was kind of lacking a little bit. So
and forgive me, are you talking off the line or are you talking after the catch?
I'm talking about both. I mean,
okay.
keeping up that speed the whole time, bursting off the line. I mean, we worked on 5-yard bursts and winning that first 5, I would say, almost every single day.
Okay.
So
Right.
that was definitely a point of emphasis. Working with him was just working on that burst off the ball and making sure that within that burst off the ball, making the move on the DB and keeping that same speed, stacking the DB, all that type of stuff. We worked a lot.
Yeah, that first 5 out of the slot, it's really important because the first 5 yards is where you can win right away, right? And it's because that guy's, you never really have a free release out of the slot, so you really got to have that honed in and a repertoire of moves that you can get loose with.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that was, like I said, we worked slot, we worked outside because obviously something that I make sure that the coaches know here is that my availability in the slot and outside as well. So I was still continuing to work outside. I wasn't just sticking to one thing and had tunnel vision on one thing. We're still working everything as a whole.
Today, it seems like the defense is not shy about calling up any blitz they want. They're getting all in the quarterback's kitchen. And if Josh didn't have to throw that ball off his back foot, that's a touchdown on the deep post. But he couldn't muscle it all the way out to you because you had the route one, but then you had to wait on the ball. I was hoping you'd be able to pull that thing down. What are you seeing in terms of a play like that when you know the ball's not going to get to me, I got to adjust? Like, what's kind of rolling through your head? Because you know the coverage is closing now because you got to wait on the ball. I'm just curious as to the mindset when you have to make those adjustments mid-play.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a big part of playing receiver is adjusting to the ball. And obviously, I'm very, very hard on me. I'm my biggest critic. Should have came down with that. At the end of the day, when I see, we call that play and that route is there, and as I'm running full speed, I'm kind of looking at the coverage as a whole. Man, I mean, you can't do nothing but smile when it works out that way, right?
Right.
And went down there. Cam made a great play coming from behind me and getting his hand in there. So. Like I said, man, sometimes it doesn't always work out, but at the end of the day, it's pick your head up, and Doris always preaches, pick your head up and keep going, next play mentality. So,
give us an idea. This is day 2 of shoulder pads. Just articulate for people listening how that changes things.
I mean, it's as far as, just on our bodies. We're out here running around for 2 hours straight. First day is just jerseys and helmets, but when you throw those pads on day by day, you get more and more sore, and you don't even necessarily really have to hit the ground every time. It's just football is a very physical, hard sport to do. So when we're out here playing and running around every single day, it's definitely, weighs in on our body a little bit. But at the end of the day, they also give us more than enough time to get in there, whether that's cold tub, hot tub, do treatment with the trainers. We got more than enough time throughout the day to get that done as well. So making sure that we have to do our part as professionals and stay on top of that.
I don't know if you pay attention to the stat nerds at like Pro Football Focus, PFF, but they had you with the highest separation rate among NFL rookies last year, almost 50%. Now you're working with Eric Moulds on maintaining your speed through a route stem or something. Logic for me would say if you're better at that based on the work you put in with Eric down south, that rate's probably going up. I know your time on the field probably wasn't what you wanted it to be. You probably wanted to contribute more than you were allowed to, but I'm expecting your time on the field to go up considerably this year. Where do you think you can take your game here in year 2 for this offense?
I mean, it's just still I kind of have the same mentality, is when I'm out there, take advantage of that opportunity. Whenever my name is called to get out there and make a play, I got to do everything I can to make sure I make that play. And I completely understand this is the NFL. You're not going to win every single time. But more wins than losses, definitely. Make sure that I keep that neutral mindset, making sure that when I go out there, I'm not riding the highs, I'm not riding the lows, making sure that I get out there and do more than just my job as far as making sure that when I walk off the field that everybody's happy with what I'm doing.
So you got this new locker room, new players on the team, and 90-man roster too. How is this year in the locker room and the atmosphere different than last year?
I mean, I guess the biggest thing is just all the new faces. I mean, you mentioned it earlier, a whole new wide receiver room. And, you know, just talking to the rookies, like that's sometimes the reality of the business is like you might come in one day and see one face and the next day, shoot, you know, it's a new face, you know? So it's like that's just a part of the game. It's a part of the business. It's nothing to sit here and let it weigh you down and weigh on your mental. It's more of just as long as you show up every single day and do your job, you'll be all right. But I would say there's definitely a lot of new faces that have also benefited me as well, having Hardy, watching him work and the way he creates separation. That helps me with when I'm in there, my game. Trent, watching the way he gets open as well. Watching a lot of the new faces is also good because you learn so much just from observing. I mean,
The last one for me, you guys also have a tight end that's working inside an awful lot in the rookie Kincaid, knowing he's going to probably be working the middle of the field at times while you are as well. What is that dynamic like? I mean, the route concept is the route concept, but there are adjustments and options in routes as well. What do you have to be mindful of with the tight end when maybe he's slot left and you're slot right? Like, what is the dynamic there that you have to kind of be aware of out there?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends on what play's called when there is. You know, obviously our coaches call plays that put us in the best position to go out there and win. There's never really going to be an issue to where I'm thinking like, oh, I might have to, you know, slow down here because of what he's doing. Everything that that we have when we go out there and whatever they're calling, there shouldn't be no issue at all.
Proper spacing and all of that is a given.
Right, and that's what's expected as well. I'm glad you mentioned that is the spacing. I mean, if he has a certain route and I have a certain route, and we end up in the same spot, somebody messed up, you know? So
because you all have your landmarks.
Right. Exactly. So just making sure that we all know what we're doing when we get out there. It's as simple as that.
So last year you got drafted by the Super Bowl favorite Buffalo Bills. This year you come back and it's the Bills are also playing in this league too. You know, totally different expectations from around the country. You guys up for that? What's the conversation in the locker room about the expectations? Everybody's kind of looking over you. They love the Jets. They love the Dolphins. They love Cincinnati. Love the Chiefs. And the Bills are kind of an afterthought. How does that change things, if at all, for you guys?
I mean, we try not to pay attention to the outside noise. We're a very, tunnel vision team as far as keeping it within the building and knowing what we have in there. Knowing that if we show up every single day and we're there for that day, you know, we say be here now, be in the present. You got to put one foot in front of the other to take that first step. So it's just, you know, being here now. We just got done with practice 6 and, have an off day tomorrow, but, practice number 7, that's up next, then practice number 8 and just keep, building from there day by day, brick by brick.
Khalil, thanks for the time. We appreciate it. Good luck this season. Please stay healthy, all right?
Yeah.
You guys, I tell everybody, you guys stay healthy out there, all right?